Good evening and welcome to our broadcast of Just the News. I'm Faye. This is where we give you all of the news that has taken place in the country over the last 24 hours without any opinion. Let's get straight to it. India has reported 4,529 deaths in the last 24 hours, according to data from the Union Health Ministry on Wednesday. Over 2.67 lakh fresh cases have been reported, taking the total tally past 2.5 crore cases. Now, this is the highest number of deaths our country has reported caused by COVID in a single day. As per official data, our total death toll is now well past 2,83,000 people. One of the reasons experts are saying that deaths are increasing while the overall caseload is coming down is because of the lag in the death count, as many states are reporting deaths that happened a few days or a few weeks ago. The Union Health Ministry has said a total of 5.86 crore vaccinations will be provided free of cost to state governments and union territories from the 1st of May to the 15th of June. Additionally, 4.87 crore doses will be made available till the end of June for direct procurement by the states and union territories. This is when the states buy directly from the manufacturer. Now, just to put these numbers into perspective, these two numbers from the central government and the state government add up to roughly a little above 10 crore doses. Now, we're a country of 130 crore people, and this announcement makes up for a really small portion of our population that will be covered for an entire span of the whole 2 months. According to Health Ministry data, we've administered a total of 18.5 crore doses so far. Now, some of those are first doses and some of those are second doses. So experts argue that this is simply not fast enough to cover our population where the virus is killing by the thousands. This also comes in the middle of a massive shortage that's being reported of vaccinations across the country. Remember, Maharashtra and Karnataka have temporarily suspended the vaccination of adults below the age of 45. Delhi has flagged issues of low stocks, and at least a dozen states are now floating global tenders for the procurement of vaccines. Mumbai's municipal corporation's global tender got no responses at all whatsoever, and now it has had to increase the deadline. The Union Health Ministry has also said that people who have recovered from COVID should defer their vaccine by 3 months. If you got COVID after taking your first dose, you should defer your second dose by 3 months. A new set of guidelines have also cleared vaccination for all lactating women, but the question of vaccinating pregnant women is currently under discussion by the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization. Mucormycosis or black fungus has been declared an epidemic in the state of Rajasthan. The state has now reported 100 cases of black fungus so far, and a special ward has been created at the Savai Man Singh Hospital in Jaipur for treatment. Mucormycosis is a rare fungal infection that is now being seen in particularly in people with severe diabetes being treated for COVID using steroids that causes this fungus. Now, black fungus spike of cases has been reported, and also pharmacies are now running out of the treatment drug, an antifungal drug called amphotericin. According to NDTV, the Union Health Ministry on Monday said it has identified 5 suppliers of this drug, and they are making efforts to optimal allocation. The maximum number of cases of this black fungus has been reported in the state of Maharashtra of about 2,000 cases. Gujarat has reported 1,163 cases so far. The government of Manipur has asked ambulances to silence their sirens amid rising COVID cases because of anxiety that it's causing among citizens. In a memo, the state's medical directorate has said silence the sirens because they're causing people to panic and causing social anxiety. Only if roads are blocked should sirens be activated. Manipur on Tuesday reported 624 fresh COVID cases, pushing the total tally up to 40,683 and reported 20 fatalities in the last 24 hours. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's tweet on a Singapore COVID strain has caused a diplomatic row, as External Affairs Minister has clarified that the Delhi Chief Minister does not speak for India. To give you a quick background, yesterday the CM of Delhi tweeted, and I quote, "A new variant of coronavirus found in Singapore is said to be very dangerous for children. This can usher in a third wave of COVID in India. I appeal to the central government to immediately halt air services with Singapore and work on developing a vaccine for children on priority basis." End tweet. The Singapore Foreign Minister, Vivian Balakrishnan, has taken strong objections to the tweet and said politicians should stick to facts. There is no Singapore variant of the virus. Responding to this, the External Minister of India, Jaishankar, has said irresponsible comments from those who do not know better can damage long-standing partnerships. Let me clarify, the Delhi CM does not speak for India. End quote. The Singapore Health Ministry on Tuesday issued a statement saying that the strain that is prevalent in many of the COVID cases found in the recent weeks is the B.1.617.2 variant, which originated in India. He also said testing has shown that this variant is associated with several clusters that have now been detected in Singapore. Singapore closed schools because of reports that this particular variant also affects children. At least 1,621 teachers and support staff have died in Uttar Pradesh due to COVID after the Uttar Pradesh Panchayat poll duty, and this is according to the Uttar Pradesh Primary Teachers Association. The Uttar Pradesh Primary Teachers Association has sent a list of the names of all of the victims to the Chief Minister demanding financial assistance of ₹1 crore and jobs for their dependents. The state government, according to India Today, has refuted the claim and has in return said only 3 teachers have died so far. The State Council, in a statement, clarified that the election period covers the time between when an individual leaves for electoral work and undergoes training and goes home after election duty. Hence, only 3 teachers have died during this period from COVID-19 when on poll duty. Telangana government has announced a statewide lockdown and will be extended until the 30th of May. The Chief Minister has cancelled the state cabinet meeting, which was supposed to take place on the 20th of May. Existing restrictions will continue. Grocery, milk, meat shops and other activities will be allowed from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. In other news, away from COVID, journalist turned politician Veena George is all set to be the new health minister of Kerala, replacing KK Shalja. A formal announcement will be apparently made soon. This is according to a report in NDTV. KK Shalja is among the 5 CPIM ministers from the previous government who won their assembly elections but have been excluded from the new cabinet. Her exclusion has raised questions and eyebrows across the country because KK Shalja was praised globally for her handling of COVID in the state, and she was elected now as the party whip in the meantime. Now, the party whip basically maintains discipline among party members within the state assembly. The LDF in the meantime has said the new cabinet will only have the chief minister, Pinarayi Vijayan, as a second repeat in this government. A.N. Shamsheer of the party said that no one from the earlier ministry is part of the new ministry except for the chief minister. This is our party decision. Only our party has the courage to do so. Many top performers have also not been allowed to contest elections. We want new faces. End quote. At least 45 people have been killed across 12 districts of Gujarat, according to the officials, due to the cyclone Tauktae. According to PTI, 12 people on board the barge P305 went adrift in cyclone Tauktae before sinking have now been pronounced dead. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi conducted an aerial survey of the state of Gujarat today and met with officials and the Chief Minister in Ahmedabad before announcing 1,000 crore rupees as financial aid for immediate relief activities in Gujarat. Nawab Malik, politician of the NCP in Maharashtra, called this clear-cut discrimination, asking why the Prime Minister did not conduct an aerial survey of affected areas in Maharashtra for the same cyclone. Another cyclone, in the meantime, is headed towards the east coast of India. Officials of the Indian Meteorological Department on Wednesday afternoon have said a low-pressure system could take birth within the next 48 hours, and it holds potential to intensify into a cyclone. The system will develop close to the North Andaman Sea around the 22nd of May and could reach the coast of either Odisha or West Bengal by the evening of the 26th of May, according to a report in the Indian Express. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and Law Minister Mulay Ghatak have been made parties to the CBI petition before the Calcutta High Court seeking transfer of the Narada case from the state. Now, in its plea before the court, the CBI has argued that they could not seek custody on Monday as a result of the terror created at the behest of the arrested and accused persons and by the presence of the Chief Minister and others. Now, Bengal ministers of the new government that has been formed in Bengal, Firhad Hakim and Subrata Mukherjee, and Trinamool MLA Madan Mitra, along with Soban Chatterjee, were arrested in the Narada case on Monday after the governor gave clearance for their prosecution. Soon after these arrests, a huge crowd of Trinamool workers gathered outside the CBI Kolkata office. The Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, also was at the location. She held a dharna on the spot, contending that the way the ministers were arrested was without due procedure and asking that the CBI arrest her too. Now, the Narada case involves a sting operation conducted back in 2014 by a journalist from the Narada news portal who posed as a businessman planning to invest in Bengal. He gave wads of cash to 7 Trinamool MPs, 4 ministers, 1 MLA and a police officer as bribes and taped the entire operation. News from the world of business right now. According to the data from the Centre for Monitoring of Indian Economy, CMIE, rural unemployment has increased up to 14.34% last week, double of what it was the week before that at 7.29%. Now, the last time the number was this high was in June last year during the thick of the lockdown. The chart you can see on your screen right now is unemployment in India as it has been between March, April and the first half of May up till the 16th of May. That spike that you can see in May is pretty worrying. Now, this is apparently caused by fresh lockdowns announced by various states, a surge in COVID cases in rural India and a lull in the farming sector that has led to joblessness both informal and informal sectors. Now, the urban unemployment in the meantime has also climbed to 14.71%. That's 3% more than it was a week ago. So the total unemployment in the country is now at 14.45%, which is extremely worrying. The State Bank of India has released its report that analyzes inflation, discretionary expenses and the pandemic. Now, the report highlights, in the whole report analyzing inflation, it highlights a very worrying trend in the inflation of healthcare services. Now, what it does is it basically says that while consumer price inflation, which is the total basket of everything we spend money on, has gone up 4.29% in April, healthcare expenses for the average Indian has gone up 11%. And it says Indian families may end up spending 66,000 crore rupees more than they would have normally on healthcare. Now, it points out 3 main reasons for this calculation. First, the price impact. Now, it argues that there has been an increase in the price of healthcare because, as we know, many people in India depend on private sector. Private sector has, in fact, increased a lot of its charges for ambulances, for ICUs, for things like that. It says the family budget increased spending on healthcare will go up 15,000 crore rupees because of increased prices. The second reason is the quantity impact, which is we're just spending more because there are more people getting sick in the country, plus hospitalization, medicines, PPE kits, that sort of thing, adding up to 35,000 crore rupees that will be spent as an increased consumption on healthcare services. And finally, the income effect. Now, per capita income has reportedly come down in India because of the unemployment we just mentioned. It's declined by per capita income is what each Indian makes. So the whole income of the country divided by the number of people we are, it's declined by 8,637 in the last financial year. And the income effect, so you're making less money but you're spending more on healthcare, is adding up to 16,000 crore rupees according to SBI. So adding all of this together, the total healthcare expenditure on the average on Indian families is likely to go up 66,000 crore rupees. That is an 11% increase from what it was last year at 6 lakh crore rupees. News now coming in from across the world. An Israeli airstrike has damaged Gaza's only lab for COVID testing. The Hamas-run health ministry has said the attack was, and I quote, barbaric and there is no way to justify it. The news is worrying because the Gaza Strip is already facing a shortage of medical supplies and their healthcare is under tremendous pressure because of the number of people injured by these airstrikes. The lab would be temporarily unable to process results of COVID Also, HIV, hepatitis C, and other conditions. Now, over the last week, Gaza has conducted an average of 515 tests daily of COVID, and only 1.9% of Gaza's 2 million population are fully vaccinated, compared to 56% in Israel. According to reports, Israeli airstrikes have killed now 213 Palestinians, including 60 children who have been killed so far. It has wounded more than 1,400 people in Gaza. Meanwhile, President of the US, Joe Biden, is largely sticking to the United States' playbook when it comes to how it deals with Israel and Palestine. Despite pressure from progressive Democrats for a tougher line towards Israel and from America's allies for a more active role to end the violence, the US has supported Israel's right to defend itself against a rocket barrage from the Hamas-ruled enclave in Gaza, and only mildly nudged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a ceasefire. So, those watching the US's international policy have said Biden has effectively given Israel forces more time to press their offensive against the Gaza Strip. Biden was in Michigan yesterday to tour the Ford factory as part of his push for electric cars, but he faced protests of about 1,000 people who marched the streets in support of Palestine, urging the US government to do more to support Palestine and to stop the sales of weapons to Israel. The US House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi has called for a US diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, criticizing China for human rights abuses, saying global leaders who attend the Olympics would lose their moral authority. She said, and I quote, "What I propose and join those who are proposing is a diplomatic boycott. Lead countries of the world withhold their attendance at the Olympics," end quote. She also said, let's not honor the Chinese government by having heads of state go to China. For heads of state who do go to China in light of a genocide that is ongoing, while you are sitting there in your seat, really begs the question what moral authority you have to speak again about human rights in any place in the world. This comes after 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslims have been held in camps in China. China describes these camps as vocational training centers to stamp out extremism and strongly refutes accusations of abuse or of genocide. A video emerged from China today. One of China's tallest skyscrapers, the SEG Plaza in Shenzhen, was evacuated after reports of a shake. Several videos online showed panicked people running from the building. According to The Guardian, officials said that they found no safety abnormalities in the main structure of the building and the surrounding environment of the building. The interior and exterior components of the building appear undamaged. Singer Demi Lovato has announced that they are non-binary and are changing their pronouns from she, her to they, them. Non-binary people are those who identify as neither male nor female and tend not to conform to the gender pronouns of either. Demi Lovato took to Twitter, saying, and I quote, "Today's a day I'm so happy to share more of my life with you all. I'm proud to let you know that I identify as non-binary and will officially be changing my pronouns to they, them moving forward. This comes after a lot of healing and self-reflective work. I'm still learning and coming into myself, and I don't claim to be an expert or a spokesperson. Sharing this with you now opens another level of vulnerability for me," end tweet. And one piece of positive news before we leave you for today. The Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation has set up a full-fledged library for COVID patients who otherwise get confined to their beds for almost 2 weeks without any scope of entertainment. According to the New Indian Express, the Municipal Corporation Chief has said the aim is to set up a library in the COVID care centres to divert patients' attentions from the negativity and encourage them to read. The NMMC Chief Abhijit Bangar has said patients stay for more than 10 days so they can read as many books as they want. This will also reduce the time they otherwise spend watching random things on their smartphones. We'll leave you with that story. Remember, leave us a comment on suggestions on what we can do to improve this broadcast for you. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch the interviews that we're putting up right now about COVID, the treatment and the vaccination policy. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.